Hello, Anna Napoli for the Finance News Network, and joining me from Immutep is CEO Marc Voigt. Marc, welcome back.
Nice to meet you, Anna.
First up, as the financial year comes to a close, could you remind us about the work that has taken place over the last 12 months?
Yes, sure. So Immutep as a biotech company was fully focused on our core areas of expertise, which is on the one hand side immuno-oncology and then autoimmune diseases. All our product candidates made good progress and we saw a lot of data in the past 12 months and we hope, of course, for more in the future.
And a more general question, Marc. Immunotherapy is the hot area of biotech for good reason. What advantages does it provide and why is Big Pharma so interested?
Indeed, you are right. It's a very, very hot area in biotech and in the pharmaceutical industry. And it's, I think, a paradigm shift we saw a few years ago in the way you treat cancer patients with immuno-oncology, so where you enable the patient's own immune system to actively fight cancer. And on the other hand side, the immune system is also responsible for a number of other diseases like autoimmune diseases where you have an overreacting immune system. So I think it's a quite strong logic why it makes sense to engage in that field. And it's not only a logic, not only a scientific rationale, but there's also great market potential. The key drugs there are multi-billion-dollar blockbuster drugs like Keytruda, for instance.
Thanks, Marc. Unless you're involved in biotech, the size of the opportunity isn't always easy to understand. If we could turn to your largest trial for metastatic breast cancer, how's it progressing and what's the science revealing?
Yeah, first of all, the trial, which is called APEC, has been fully recruited in June last year, so about a year ago. And then we reported first results in terms of progression-free survival by end of March this year. Unfortunately, it was not so well received by the market and it was not up to our hopes that we can shortcut the development and go directly to registration. But it was also quite encouraging. We saw nice subgroups, so patients benefited from the treatment with eftilagimod in terms of the so-called progression-free survival. We saw also an advantage in terms of the response rate. But the main game is overall survival, and these results are due by approximately end of this year. So the market reaction in the midst of the COVID uncertainty wasn't that nice, just to be very frank here, but the game is on and we are working on it and we will generate further results. Yeah, and in metastatic breast cancer, which is a not very immunogenic disease, it's maybe also noteworthy that also the blockbuster drug Keytruda I mentioned had also some hiccups, so failures.
And can you also provide a comment on your other clinical trial in non-small cell lung cancer?
Yes, that's a trial with the same drug candidate, eftilagimod, which we do together with Merck in the US. So combination of Keytruda plus eftilagimod, indeed, as you said, in non-small cell lung cancer as well as in head and neck cancer. Fabulous results we saw at AACR, so end of April. And now again at ESCO, where we doubled the response rate of Keytruda in first-line non-small cell lung cancer and second-line head and neck cancer. Of course, we will generate further results, but as an interim step, this was very, very encouraging.
So what is the potential payoff versus risk for shareholders when investing in Immutep?
First of all, I believe as a general rule in biotech, not only specific to Immutep, it's important to have a portfolio of different drug candidates. I mean, we talk here about science, about experiments. These experiments, of course, can also go wrong or not deliver the expected results. So to have a portfolio of multiple drug candidates is important. Also to have then multiple clinical trials, so multiple shots on goal. And also to team up with a big pharmaceutical industry. So for instance, Immutep has partnerships with GlaxoSmithKline, with Novartis, Merck, I mentioned already, also Pfizer and German Merck and other smaller companies. So I believe these are the right ingredients to achieve something very big.
And Marc, COVID-19 is the question on everyone's minds at the moment. How did the company go during the lockdowns and how is it placed going forward?
Yeah, thank you. Indeed, an important question. COVID is affecting all businesses, including biotech and the pharmaceutical industry. So as a company, operationally, we have not been affected that much. So I have been continuously in the office, for instance. And also, as we have a global presence, we are used to work at different hours, also from home. So that was okay. The clinical trials have been affected a bit. So of course, patient recruitment is slower. The patients are more cautious. They need to be protected. And this is, of course, number one and most important. And then also the readouts could be delayed. For Immutep, maybe not that dramatic, as we have our biggest trial, APEC, fully recruited, TACDI 002, the trial with Merck, more than 70% recruited, and the trial with Pfizer also 100% recruited. So that impact might be limited. But overall, I believe the economy and also the biotech industry will see some consequences here.
Last question, Marc, is there anything else you'd like to tell investors?
Yeah, so I believe we had some exciting past 12 months. We will have even more exciting coming 12 months. We are working on a lot of different initiatives and things. We are working on our clinical trials. Our collaborators are moving forward. For instance, the clinical proof of concept for the drug we out-licensed to GlaxoSmithKline is expected in first half next year, calendar year, so first half of 21. And also in terms of LAG-3 as such, we are the leaders in terms of LAG-3, the immune checkpoint. There is Bristol Myers Squibb, and if they validate LAG-3, they have a phase 3, which may read out end of this or beginning of next year. This would, of course, be big for us as well, as we are the global leaders in LAG-3.
Marc Voigt, thanks for the update.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.